What is up, y'all? We back. I am back. You are back. The Auburn Tigers, well, they were back playing anyway. Word, it's great to have you here on the Brain Drain tonight after a difficult Auburn loss. The Auburn Tigers lost 92-84 on the road in Knoxville. Probably an outcome that a lot of us figured we would see tonight. Tennessee, obviously an outstanding team, have only lost one home game this year, and figured this was going to be one of those kinds of games where Auburn had like a, 20% chance to win, maybe 30% chance to win. Thought they would lose by about, 6, 7, 8, something in that range. Ended up losing by 8. In a game where I thought Auburn's effort was, for the most part, very, very good. And I really liked the offensive execution for the most part. I mean, you score 84 in Thompson-Boling against a good Tennessee team that takes pride in its defense, that's good at defense. And BP, I'm paraphrasing here, but in post-game, he was saying, we did enough to win. And I think there's going to be some Tennessee fans that roll their eyes at that one. Of course, they roll their eyes at him all the time, but I think he's right. I mean, you score 84 on the road, that should be enough. And Dalton Knecht, the Northern Colorado transfer, just absolutely tore Auburn up. I want to say he finished with 39, 37, something in that range. He finished with 39 points on 12 of 21 shooting, 10 of 12 from the line, 5 of 8 from long range. And he was just too much, man. I thought Janai played great. I thought Jalen played well in his return to the lineup. I was kind of harsh on Chad in the big game wrap because I felt like at times he loafed a little bit trying to chase Knecht. I thought with a player like that, with a release as quick as his and with the gaudiness that he has about shooting, because he has no conscience, you can't give him the kind of space that maybe you would give Al Flanagan or Reed Shepherd, unless he's at Mississippi State. You know, those kinds of like good players, you can give them a little bit of space and you can catch up. Dalton Knecht is just not one of those. First of all, he's really long, so he'll shoot over you, and you just can't be late. You can't be late. And I felt like Chad was late too much tonight, and so I just wasn't impressed necessarily with his defensive work. But BP said afterward that he was happy with Chad's effort and that he was just tuckered out. I think he played 31 minutes tonight, and it was a hard 31, particularly on the defensive end. So Ravin in the chat mentioned some unlikely turnovers or untimely turnovers. Yeah, first half was really, really sloppy, and 10 turnovers in the first half. Look, Auburn had 9 the whole game at Georgia, which is more like what they do. Auburn usually has single-digit turnovers. So to have 10 in the first half, you're like, what is going on? And so many of those were just sloppy, unforced mistakes. And I think Tennessee ended up +7 in points off turnovers. And, I mean, you think that you lose by 8? 7-point turnover, 7-point margin right there. That's gonna be a big part of the story. So the Auburn Tigers lose that one, and for all intents and purposes, fall out of the title race. Now that they're 2 full games behind Tennessee, with 3 to go. Yeah, 3 to go. But here's the good news, and there is good news in my opinion from what we saw tonight. I thought the execution, I can't go into, you guys know I go to practice. We go to practice. We're not allowed to talk about what goes on in practice. I think the emphasis is before the game. I don't necessarily think they might as much now, but I try to be careful. BP had some very specific shit that he wanted to get done in this game. And a lot of times BP will say these things and the kids will just kind of lose track of it in the game and it doesn't work out. In this game, I thought their attention to detail was really good, and I think the things that BP was trying to do, with the exception of they failed to overplay Ziegler to his right hand. That was a mistake, and that was something he was really accentuating in practice. With that aside, I think a lot of the things Auburn was trying to do on out-of-bounds plays, defending out-of-bounds plays, switching to the zone, which didn't really work that well because Dalton Knecht just shot over it, but I thought the execution was good on that. And he kept telling them, you can't fall asleep in this game because if you dawdle mentally, they will bust your ass. Auburn had good attention to detail about getting back and slowing down their transition opportunities. Auburn was great out-of-bounds defense, which is something he was really pushing. They score, I think, 8 points per game on out-of-bounds stuff. Tennessee does. So that's a big part of their game. And I thought Auburn's defense was good to that end. Stoop Up says effort was good. Trey was awful. Denver didn't get enough shots yet. Denver was good when they got the ball in his hands. He had a couple big buckets. Janai was terrific tonight. I can't have any complaints of him. Tennessee did a nice job of doing switches or getting switches to get Knecht set up with Janai, and that's a bad matchup for Janai. When that's happening, when he's going to drive Janai to the bucket, he's got to have a help side defender help him, and BP was talking about this after the game. It was a little slow. The response time on that was a little slow. Before we get too far along, we had a super chat come through from one of our absolute legends, which would be Feel Like a Stranger Who We Love and Adore. He says, word up. Much love, Drainer, Swoogans, Tates, especially Mama Tate. Thank you for that, brother. Saw her today. She's doing great, actually. Best I've seen my mom since all this fiasco began some 18 months ago. Feel Like a Stranger missed this game due to work. Heartbreaker, huh? Kind of. I mean, it's not you lose by 8, you don't think it's a heartbreaker. Heartbreaker is when you lose on a shot at the end of at the buzzer, you know what I mean? But it was a heartbreaker in the sense that I think Auburn was in this game. Auburn was up to the task. I thought Auburn was playing very good basketball for most of this game. But they had a fatal flaw, which was that they had no answer for Dalton Knecht. And they couldn't slow him down, and he beat him for almost 40 points. One guy. If he just has 29 points instead of 39 points, Auburn wins the game. And they didn't find a way really to mitigate him at all. Now, listen, he's probably going to be the MVP of the league. So it's not like he's just some ham and egger, just showed up and scored that many points. But and I don't think I don't think the coaching staff was content to let him do his thing. I think they were coming up with stuff. They were zoning him. They were changing. They were doing some non-switching defensive stuff. They were switching some stuff. They tried. There were some different ideas. But you can't let a guy just eat you up that way. And I find it interesting. I was talking to Courtney about this earlier. I find it interesting that the last team that he ate up was Todd Golden. And you guys know there's a relationship there between Auburn and Florida at this point because Todd Golden being the former Auburn assistant here. And he's really good friends, a trusted associate. Not that Auburn and Florida in cahoots or anything, but I'm just saying, Todd's a friend of the program, and they like him and respect him. And he comes from BP's coaching tree. He borrowed a lot of his ideas or learned a lot of his ideas from BP. And it's interesting to me that Dalton Knecht cooked Florida to the tune of almost 40 points, 5 weeks ago, and then tonight did the same thing. I found that interesting. It could just be random distribution. I don't know. I mean, the kid's really good. Whale Driver jumps in with a super chat as well. It says, given that this loss drops us to 6th, where do you think we finish? Well, here's the good news, Whale Driver. Appreciate the super chat. And for tuning into the show. I know you're here a lot, and I do certainly appreciate that. The rest of this schedule is not particularly difficult. Mississippi State is a solid team. They've been losing a lot lately. I think they're kind of tuckered out. And they're coming here, and Auburn lost over there. So you think that's probably, I would give Auburn an 85% chance to win that game, particularly with Jalen back. And he looked like himself tonight. He really did. I saw him in practice the other day, and he looked great. I wanted to tell you guys, but I just couldn't do it. At Missouri, scares me a little bit more than it probably scares you. Missouri's winless in the SEC, of course, but I just feel like, God, you're going to their place. It's going to be their senior night. And I know they're shitty, and I know they lose all the time, and I know losing's like a disease, and it begats more losing. But, oh, God, I feel like those kids are going to be fighting for their souls that night. And then you got Georgia at home, which I give Auburn a 92% chance of winning that game. So Auburn may be in 5th at this point, but they've got 3. I think the chances of Auburn running the table at this point, in my opinion, are probably 80%. And if you win 3 in a row, you finish 13-5, they're going to be in the top 4. They're definitely going to be in the top 4, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a bye just to give yourself, kind of a running start, Wheel Driver. So, yeah, I think they're going to move up. If this schedule, the remaining schedule, was tough, yeah, it'd be a problem, but I don't think that's what we're looking at here. Coy Dub, part of the Montgomery Power couple here, says, love you, JG. Let's finish the regular season 24-7 and make a run in March. I am all in favor of that. Let me show my approval with my Stream Deck when I give you one of these right here. Yes, sir. We, of course, are very much in favor of a run in March, both in Nashville and elsewhere. Appreciate you, bro. Probably see you here pretty soon, although I may not be drinking. Luke in the chat. What's up, bro? Says try Denver at the 1 and Aiden at the 2. They did a little bit of that in the, was it last game? Oh, they had some machinations like that, yeah. Stoop Up says Tennessee hitting 9 of 17 from 3 ain't happening again if we meet again. That is probably true. That was an insane performance, mostly from Dalton Knecht, but some other guys too. Jackson S. jumps in, always here with us, and I appreciate you, Big Poppy. Percent chance we finish top 4 in the SEC for the tournament. For me, it's 80%, probably higher. These other teams have some tough games, and Auburn really doesn't. I mean, Auburn's got to show up, and Auburn's got to execute, and Auburn's got to play its game. But if it does, it's going to win all 3 of these and get back in the top, probably, top 3. Probably finish 3rd. Also, what happened to playing SEMO? Did Bruce come to his senses? LOL, I'm depressed. Well said. Lior played, I thought, terrific tonight. I don't know what he finished with. Here, I don't have anywhere to put the thing up. I really should, probably. It's an important part of the process. Lior had 5 points on 2 of 3 shooting, 3 rebounds. He was the leading rebounder at one point for the team. Finished with 1 assist, 1 turnover, and 1 steal in 9 minutes. So he averages 7. He had 9. And finished with a plus-minus of 5, which was second on the team behind Trey, which is mind-boggling, but whatever. So Lior actually played pretty good tonight, and maybe, I don't know, maybe he was just playing a hunch. SEMO was at practice. I can't go into details, I guess, but he's fine. He's healthy, and he's never going to be in trouble. So I think it was just a coach's decision. I mean, listen, man, Chad played 31 minutes tonight at that wing spot. Chad's a much better defender than SEMO because he has a lot more lateral agility. And I think they just were going to go with SEMO as much as they could. And they ran him. I'm sorry, Chad. They were going to run with Chad as much as they could, and they ran him ragged. So in that sense, he did kind of come to his senses, didn't he? Blake R. jumps in. The master of the East Coast. There he is. Says, JGT, disappointing game all around. Refs were terrible. Yeah. I didn't think they were horrible the whole game, but, man, they had this period. What was it, like start of the second half to like the 8-minute mark where they were calling all kinds of weird shit. I didn't know what was going on with them. And some of them were against Tennessee too. But it was just odd. And then like the last 5 minutes of the game, they were like, we've already hit our quota for fouls, so we're just going to let them do whatever the hell they want to do. And it's just inconsistent. I think that's what BP was so pissed about. I think there were, Blake said, the refs were terrible, but I think there was some lazy rebounding on the defensive end at key times too. War damn Eagle. Anyway, we appreciate that, Blake R. What a legend. Yeah, lazy, loafy. I did see some loafs out there. That bucket where I think it was Knecht. This is late in the game, maybe 2 minutes to go. Knecht puts up a 3. It's horribly off target. Auburn's got 3 players, maybe 4 in the general vicinity of the key, and Vescovi comes marauding in from behind the 3-point line, picks up a ball in the middle of 4 defenders, and then lays it in. Which, I mean, look, they lost by 8, so 1 bucket isn't the difference, but my God, you cannot do that in a pressure situation in a big game like that. But it was great. Says, I picked a terrible night to give up sniffing glue. It's quit sniffing glue. From the great movie Airplane, a line delivered by Lloyd Bridges, one of my all-time favorite films. And thank you for bringing that up, bro. Blake, I appreciate you, and Corey, and Jackson. Let's see. Stuart S. is in the house. Refs were bad. Defense was a quota for fouls. Yeah, definitely was a quota for fouls. It did seem that way. Tons and tons of fouls, and then all of a sudden, none. It was like they all kind of looked at each other and said, no more. Let's go. Elijah says, Tennessee fan here. We are so lucky we have Knecht. Man, he is so good. Good God, he just cooked them tonight. Y'all have a good squad. Probably will have y'all going to the Elite 8 depending on the matchup. Refs were way too inconsistent. Good game. Appreciate you, Elijah. And, yeah, Tennessee, look, they've been a good ball club all year, and they are a good ball club right now, and I think they're playing some good basketball, and they did what they had to do to win this game. It is to their credit that Dalton Knecht plays for them. It is to their credit that ZZ Top, Ziegler, knows how to work the refs, knows how to fall down and draw fouls. He's been doing it a long time, and he's good at it. And Auburn fans would love to have a point guard that did that too. And he hit some buckets too, man. Little guy did. So, look, they've got players Rick Barnes is a good coach. It sounded great in the arena there tonight. I mean, they have a lot of support. So, hey, I got nothing bad to say about Tennessee on that end. I mean, I pull for them. Well, I pull for everybody in the SEC when it's, March. Once you get in the NCAA tournament, it's every man for himself, but it's still a conference family. Also, we want to wish happy birthday to Chip, who celebrated today. He said earlier he was at Ruth's Chris down in southern part of the state, and he was watching the game on TV. Of course, hoping for the Auburn Tigers to pull that one out. But I hope that you had a delicious piece of meat, Poppy, and I'm looking forward to having some delicious chicken at the compound in April. Mega Tiger jumps in with a super chat right here. Absolute stud. Mega Tiger's so positive, and I love it. JG, valiant effort by the boys tonight. If that meth head looking fella from UT doesn't have a career night, we win that one. He looks pretty normal to me. Tennessee doesn't want to see us again. This I know, War Damn Eagle. I would agree with that. I would like to see Tennessee and Auburn go at it in Nashville on a neutral court because, it's closer to Tennessee's campus, but Auburn has amazing support in the city of Nashville. Auburn's alumni club in Nashville is unbelievable, and just there's a lot of folks up there from Auburn, so I'd like to see that on a neutral court, or better yet, inside Nev, but, whatever. That's probably not going to happen. Mega, I appreciate you, bro. Let me give you some applause for that one. I do want to address something. I did not do a show the other night when Auburn won convincingly against Georgia. I had AFib, y'all. I have AFib, atrial fibrillation, which is a situation where the top chambers in your heart don't beat; they kind of quiver. And the long story short, when I'm in AFib and my heart is beating like that, out of rhythm and quivery, I have a hard time getting my breath, and I can't walk very far, and it's just really unsettling to me when my heartbeat isn't there, when I don't really have a heartbeat. I mean, my heart's beating, but it's out of time, and I can't feel it. It's really unsettling, and I just couldn't do a show. I couldn't concentrate on it, and I couldn't sit here and chat it up. So that's what happened, guys. I did feel like I failed y'all, but with that said, I did get a big game wrap out, and a pretty good one by my standards. Low standards, small standards. It did, interestingly, it did pop in later that night, back in rhythm, and I've been in rhythm since then, so I'm good now. Eventually, I'll have to have a heart ablation, which I'm trying to put off as long as possible. Although we've had some bunker members have ablations in the fairly recent past, and they have all but one of them have worked out really well. I think one of them is in the process of working out with his second one, but yeah, it ain't something I want to play around with too much. Chip's saying AFib ain't playing. Yeah, it's just really uncomfortable for me. And some people can do it because there's some people who stay in AFib for days or weeks, and they just kind of work through it. And guys, I can't do it, man. It's too unsettling for me. So I appreciate y'all being cool about it, not being upset about it, and in fact, being very supportive about it. Cassidy P jumping in. One of the true orchestrators of our upcoming bunker event in Atlanta. I call it the northern suburbs because there was some disagreement about whether the bar/restaurant that we will be at, which is called Local 3, is in Buckhead. It is damn near in the middle of Buckhead, but Will Collier was trying to tell me it wasn't in Buckhead. Whatever. Anyway, we're doing that. I believe Cassidy P, I think that's on the 4th of April, which is 2 days before the A-Day game. Details are in the bunker. And Cassidy P, as I mentioned earlier, was an important part of getting that set up. And I'm sure he'll be an important part of it being awesome when we do it. He will be one of the folks there. I believe Mrs. Cassidy P will be there as well, along with me and administrative assistant and many other happy bunks. Also, we are having another bunker event just a few days later on the Saturday after A-Day. I believe that's the 13th. Sounds right. It's going to be in Orange Beach. Details are pinned atop the bunker there as well. I think there'll be more people there. We have a lot of space in that particular compound. And we have lots of bourbon, too, although I'm not drinking right now. People ask me what I'm drinking tonight. If I were drinking, I would be drinking this right here. The Castle and Key 2023 edition. Or the release, I'm sorry. Small batch. This stuff's light and easy to drink, I will say that. And it's a beautiful campus if you ever have a chance to go there. I know Taxman's been there. I bet Canoeman's been there as well. Really, really solid bourbon. I'm not drinking right now, giving my heart a little more time to be happy and healthy. But hopefully I'll be back drinking before too long. Anyway, Cassidy P. on the Super Chat says, howdy, Swoogans. Hope your brown water is plentiful. Do we have a plentiful? I guess we don't. We don't have a plentiful sound. We should. Tough L. Connect was too much. Won't see one like him again unless in tourney play. I like our team. He's really, really good. I mean, you got to go to some of the guys like, well, he's a wing, but like Zach Edey, who plays center at Purdue. I mean, he's a dominating player. Ledee plays at San Diego State. I mean, he's really, really good. Jaden Ledee. Some of these other dudes, that dude that plays at Duke, I don't ever respect them by calling them by their names, but yeah, he's pretty good. Filipowski maybe, or Philip, whatever his name is. Nobody cares. It's Duke. Fuck him. Post Great says, is the Connect kid really a white? Yeah, I believe he is. He certainly passes the eye test for me. I don't know. I didn't ask him for a DNA or anything, but yeah, I think so. Hell of a player, man, and had a hell of a game tonight. I mean, I don't remember. I'm sure it's happened, but I can't remember Auburn giving up that many points to one single player. I mean, I know Marshall Henderson did a number on Auburn back in the day, but I still don't think he had 39. Let's see. A Taxman says, I'm moving tomorrow. My brown water is all boxed up. Need some serious prayers, Bunk. Wow. That is tough. Where are you headed? Hey, mister, where you headed? Are you in a hurry? Anybody get that one? Blake R says, hopefully we keep you around for a long while, JGT. Hopefully that AFib gets and stays under control. It is so far, thank goodness. Yes, thanks for that, bro. It's partially my fault, honestly. I went to the Steel Panther concert, and I mean, listen, man, it's a rock and roll show. They had the Velcro Pygmies opening up. Those guys are insane. I love watching them perform, and I drank too many. We drank PBR. We drank bourbon. We got really fucked up, and I'm not supposed to do that. My cardiologist is like, if you drink one or two, I'm not going to get on your case, but if you're going to get really drunk, that's a bad idea, and I'm always just blowing through that stop sign. Not always, but occasionally I blow through that particular stop sign. Let's see what D in Atlanta has to say here. Have you done a sleep study? Do you have sleep apnea? Do you use a CPAP? Makes a huge difference. I'm not even going to test for that. I was reading about that a little bit, that AFib does get kicked off by sleep apnea sometimes. But a lot of times the people that have AFib, it will materialize during the night. And for me, it materializes when I'm awake. But I mean, I could probably go for a study, but I don't know. I'm not probably going to do that right now. Whale Driver says, did we offer Connect? I don't remember that name right off. But there's so many names that they kind of talk to. You know, when a kid pops in, the Scotty knows which one I'm talking about. He's talking about Hitching a Ride by Green Day. It's exactly where it's coming from. Let's see. Blake says, is Dalton's is tonight's Dalton's career high or season high? I believe it was a career high. I know it was a season high for sure. But I think Coach Andy was saying it was a career high as well. Yeah. Chip says, glad to hear the show was a winner. No doubt. That was our 5th time seeing Steel Panther, and we may see them again in Nashville. Yeah, in May. Maybe able to sneak up there and see him again, because I'm telling you guys, when I see Steel Panther, like, the community there is just my shit. Those are my people. We made fast friends with some. I mean, if I see like some people my age at a Steel Panther concert, which is what most people are there, I mean, I know those are my people, and they are my people. Like, I don't know. Corey says Steel Panthers, plural. There's only one Steel Panther, so there'd be no plural. Greater than REO Speedwagon. I mean, maybe not from chart success, but from, other things that we can talk about at night when I'm just drinking with you and all our friends at the tipping point. Yeah, I'll explain that. Y3 says, how is Knecht not in the pros yet? NBA scouts let us down tonight. Well said. Mega Tiger says, hope all is well with you, JG. I am now glad that I didn't comment the other night that you would skip the drain because administrative assistant was saying, how you doing? Trying to pull me in, huh? No, she definitely was not doing that. If she had said that, I'd have been like, get away from me. I'm up here. I'm freaking out. That's what I do. It happens. My mom had it too. And when I was talking to her today about it, I don't get, she doesn't use a phone for whatever reason. So I was telling her about it today, breaking news to her that it happened. And she goes, oh, don't worry about it. You'll be fine. I'm like, well, easy for you to say. You had an ablation and you don't have any problems anymore. Well, I mean, blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Cody jumps in with some information there. I like that. So for Knecht tonight, tied a career and season high, scored 39 against Florida as well. Good point, Cody. I actually talked about that earlier, and then somebody asked me a question, and I don't get it right. I did find it odd that Todd Golden and Bruce Pearl, who have a clear connection, would be the two teams that get cooked by him the worst, Cassidy Pieces, JDT, who do you think steps up on this team to propel us to multiple postseason wins? I'm going Jay Will again. In hopes the third time's the charm. Auburn is kind of, in a way, the axiom is always guard play gets you to the promised land in March, right? And Auburn, the 2019 Final Four team, had great guard play. Jared was an animal. Bryce was locked in and playing some of his best ball. And Samir was a terrific, complementary piece at that point. Became more of a central piece in the 2020 team, but Auburn had guard play. This Auburn team does not usually, right? Like tonight, they didn't. I mean, Aiden was serviceable. I think he finished with 5 points. His ball handling was fine. I thought it was a good performance for him based on what he did against Kentucky, but you're looking for game-changing play from your guards, and Auburn, I'm just not sure Auburn has that. Denver sometimes does, but then other times doesn't. Sometimes they have good guard play. I don't think they ever have revelatory guard play. And so I think that's going to limit what Auburn can do in the postseason. Now, look, I'm not going to sit here and say they can't do this and can't do that. They prove me wrong all the time. When you've got Janai, when you've got Jalen, when you got Chad Baker-Mazar locked in, you got those guys together, and then you've got, if Katie has a great night or whatever, Auburn's a problem. They really are, but it's hard to get everything coordinated just right. And Raven says they started the season so well, but it has stalled out. Are you talking about just the guards? I agree. There was a point there maybe a month ago where I was like, wow, they're really balling, And then it's been several games now. Kentucky game was miserable for the guards. The Georgia game, Auburn played fine, but the guards weren't great in that game. And then tonight, I'm not even sure that I would call them average tonight. I mean, they weren't bad, but they were just, they were just okay. Just okay. Kind of like Auburn's offensive line last year. Not horrible, just okay. Let's see. Cody says, Auburn is my favorite opposing fan base in the conference, so wholesome, and we both hate Alabama. There you go, Cody. Obviously a Tennessee fan jumping on the stream, and you're certainly welcome to be here. Glad to have you. I don't think you'll find any Tennessee hate here. Beyond just the, hey, wish they would have won that game. Tennessee played a great game, and they've been a good ball club all year, and they're going to do damage in March. Period. Corey says, Trey needs to find his second wind. He really does. Aiden had the breakout game against, what was it, Georgia, I guess. Yeah, he hit 4 or 5 to close that game out and took what was going to be probably a 6 or 8 point win and turned it into what it was, almost 20. And I thought he carried it over today. I thought Aiden played a solid game tonight. Let me take a look. Let me go over to our stats page here and look at this box score real quick. So let's just kind of go through and grade him. I thought Aiden was probably a B- today. 2 assists, 1 turnover, and 21 minutes is not good. Okay, so maybe a C+. 5 points on 2 of 5 shooting, 1 of 3 from 3. Solid, I guess. Janai, I thought Janai was an A tonight. I thought he was competing. 23 points on 9 of 16. 9 boards is a little lower than normal for him, but whatever. 5 assists is terrific for your center. Good God. He was passing like a madman out of those double teams. Had a lot of skip passes. I know he hit Aiden for a 3 there late that I thought was really, really, really difficult pass and a difficult shot too, but I thought he played off his ass tonight. He gets an A from me. CBM, now that's one where I think me and BP would have a difference of opinion. I would probably give him a C-. BP might give him a B. 13 points on 3 of 10. I'm not bothered by that. 1 rebound for your wing when he's long like that is a problem, in my opinion. 4 turnovers is a problem. And being the primary defender on Knecht on a night where he goes for 39 is probably not ideal. Although it was much more complicated than just to say, oh, CBM sucked tonight. Like, no, they were switching and they were doing things to exploit matchups. So I can't put it all on CBM, but I just felt like when you know it's a quick shooter like that, a guy that has huge balls about shooting anyway, and he's got a quick release, you can't give him space. You've got to really get up on him. And in the first half, I thought Auburn was really lax on him. Now, he missed some shots in the first half, but he didn't miss shit in the second half. I'm telling you, he was hot. So I give Chad probably a C-. Denver, I don't know, like a B- maybe. Chaney, 5 points on 2 of 4 shooting, 6 boards, 4 turnovers with no assists, C. KD had some good moments there early in the second half. Hit a big 3 at a point, I think, to get Auburn ahead or equalize. 10 points on 2 of 5, 5 of 5 at the line, which you always like to see. 1 assist, 1 turnover, 1 steal. I don't know, B. Jalen, I'd give him an A considering he's coming back from being off a little bit. 12 points on 4 of 9 shooting. 3 boards is a little low for your power forward, but he only played 20. 4 assists, 0 turnovers is terrific. So, yeah, I'd give him an A. Trey, man, 0 points on 0 of 1 shooting. 3 assists, 1 turnover, not too bad. 17 minutes. He also leads the team in plus-minus. Although plus-minus in a particular game can be misleading. You want to look at that over the course of 10 games or maybe the entire season. I'd probably just give him a C-. I don't know. Not much effect in the game. Lior, for me, gets an A. Now, part of that is degree of difficulty, right? But, I mean, he helped, man. 5 points on 2 of 3 shooting. He was the leading rebounder early on, and he was grabbing boards. He's fighting for stuff. I thought he was a real crab tonight in a good way, and just reaching for stuff, trying to make things happen. I liked it. I thought he was a positive. I thought he was a plus. And I think that he played the kind of game that you really want to have from your 11th man. Like, I mean, come on, he's the 11th guy. And then Dylan was just totally, 7 minutes. It's because they had to have Janai. And Janai was up to the task. I think he only had, no fouls for Janai tonight. That's impressive. Played 33 minutes against a physical-ass team like that and had 0 fouls. I know Dylan was just like Dylaning some shit there in the first half, and I guess BP said I've seen enough. So he gets an incomplete from me. So that's probably an overall grade of like a C or a C-. I don't know. Which probably isn't fair, considering they scored 84 on the road against a team like Tennessee that's good on defense. But on the other hand, just came up short. You look at the statistical the percentages. These are numbers that BP coming into the game would have been thrilled with. 41% from 3, 49% from 2, and 75% from the line. Those are percentages. Those are winning percentages. Those are winning percentages. But then you look over at Tennessee, and they shoot 53% from 3, 50% from 2, and 77% from the line. So they got their work done. Who over here is standing on business? Business. Let's see. Boy was great says, has anyone gotten a fax? Of course he's faxing. A taxman about coming over for a weekend, over this weekend for a moving party. What does wear work clothes and bring gloves mean? He's got beer and pizza for you if you go over there, Bo. Just keep an eye out. Whale Driver says Knecht played amazing. I guess I could add these to the broadcast. Can I do that on the Bourbon Show and I don't do it over here, and it's probably a mistake? Well, Driver says Knecht played amazing. Sometimes a player that good goes off regardless of the D. That's what she said. Knecht has done that to just about everyone. He has been consistently excellent this year. You're absolutely right about that, Whale Driver. That's a good point. And again, I'm not trying to say Chad messed up by letting this kid score 39 because it was more complicated than that. They switch a lot, and they were zoning some of that stuff. You can't blame anybody for a zone when he shoots over a zone. So, I mean, but, yeah, the kid was terrific tonight. Cassidy P was the one that said Lior stood on business. You know, you stand on business, you snitch on business. Who the last person you told on? My grandma. Talking too much. She's doing 15 years. Otag was a fan of how Lior played tonight. Love how Lior played tonight. I did too. It was weird that Ford AU, who's a guy that I know in real life and who's cool, started a thread bitching about Lior tonight. I thought of all the nights that you're going to bitch about Lior, this is the wrong night to do it because he played great. He did what you expect from the 11th man. Let's see. Ravin was talking a little bit with Cassidy P in the chat. Said, I think we can get Chaney up to speed. Maybe not this season, but next year he could look like a much improved player. Chaney's such a plus for this team. He's a really good athlete. He has a great attitude. He's funny. He's a glue guy who everybody gets along with. He is in a good mood all the time. And I think he's underrated as a basketball player. He hasn't put together the numbers that I thought he would put up this year. But like Ravin was saying, and some others as well, that, you know, just give him a little more time. He is transferring up from UAH, where he was a dominating player. And, you know, at this level, he's been solid. I think he belongs at this level. He played a great game against Georgia. Tonight, not quite as much. But remember, now, Jalen was back tonight, and I think mentally that probably has an effect on him where he's like, okay, you know, the boss is back, so to speak. He may not say that or acknowledge that. Cassidy P also notes that 16 turnovers is tough to overcome on the road. Yes, BP said that post-game, and I completely agree. I know you do too. Auburn is a team that generally low turnovers. They've had games where they turn the ball over 5 or 6 times for the whole game. They turned it over 9 against Georgia the other night and 16 tonight. So much trouble in the first half with that. I know the overall gist of it was they were only down 4 at halftime despite the 10 turnovers, but imagine what could have and should have happened if they'd kept turnovers at 5. They go into halftime, maybe they're up 4, and that makes a big difference mentally. Let's see, Rob says, proud of how we played. I think Tennessee might be a Final Four team. They've certainly got some players, man, that's for sure. If Knecht has these kinds of games in the tournament, and we've seen that kind of thing happen before, you know, with the way Kawhi played back in the day and some of those big games that some of those Duke losers used to have, he could carry them. He really could. Stewart says, proud of the effort, but have to get much improved point guard play. Absolutely. If you're going to thrive in in March and win big games back to back to back, you've just got to have point guards that can get it done. Preferably guys that can just shoot and score, but guys who can administrate and work the system the way that Ziegler did tonight. You got to have people like the way Jared Harper did in 2019. You've got to have that. There's no room for discussion on this. AU Taxman says, Ford AU hired me out of school. I am truly embarrassed by his terrible takes lately. He is a really good guy, and he's a friend of the site, 100%. And a smart man. But his takes on, particularly, the one I saw was on Lior. I mean, again, there are nights when you can really, really play Lior as the folly. You can do that. But tonight was not the night to do it. And maybe he realized that, but him being him, you know, he was gonna continue burrowing himself down into that hole. He was just gonna do it. Stuart P says Castle and Key got to try it. Absolutely, man. This is it's good stuff. The distillery itself, which is near Frankfort, Kentucky, is absolutely breathtaking. It's the prettiest. It's one of the prettiest places I've ever been myself, but certainly in the world of distilleries, it's top of the heap. I know AU Taxman, who's been there as well, and Canoeman has been there as well, think that it's great too. Beautiful place, and I'd love to go back. Hopefully I get to go back pretty soon. The bourbon is solid. It's not the best. It's just something kind of light and easy to drink. By the way, we are going to have our bourbon show tomorrow night. We're going to do a show. The theme is going to be Blanton's Beaters, what we're going to call that. We're going to beat Blanton's off. We're going to come up with bourbons that we think are as good as or better than Blanton's that you can find pretty much everywhere, and I think there are some. I think Blanton's has gotten to the point where it's overrated. So we'll talk about that tomorrow on the bourbon blend. Excuse me. William H. says Lior played well. I agree. Again, he's the 11th man. He was not a huge factor in this game, but he helped. And he did more than some of these other dudes. Did Simo not even play tonight? I'm just looking at this now. He didn't even play. Wow. That's something. I mean, I knew he didn't have a big effect on the game, but I didn't realize it was just 0 minutes. Yeah, Whale Driver jumps in and says, I've been a Berman hater too. I mean, you're not alone in that one, Whale Driver, that's for sure. But he did play very well tonight, especially considering what his role is, yeah. I think it takes a real man to stand up, Whale Driver, and acknowledge that. So, respect to you. Stewart says Velcro Pygmies equals rock. God bless, they rocked my face off. I literally burned my face off how awesome they were. I've never seen them before. I've heard about them. And I ran into the lead singer at the bar before the show, and I didn't realize he was the lead singer of the Velcro Pygmies. He was wearing like these multicolored leg warmers, and I was like, that guy's got big balls to be able to walk around and wear shit like that. And it turned out he was the lead singer of the Pygmies. And I think he knew from what I was saying to him, because I wanted to talk to him, I think he knew that I didn't know who he was, and I think it bothered him. Sorry, bro. I mean, I'm a middle-aged white guy. You know what I'm saying? He probably thinks middle-aged white guys probably partied at Auburn through the 90s and watched them play, but not this guy. Sorry, man. Corey asked, did Dylan break a sweat tonight? 7 minutes? I don't think so. He had one hilariously misguided play there in the first half, and I think that might have been it. I feel like a stranger says, what about hoops recruiting? I know some studs have been to visit this season. Yeah, it's the same as usual, right? They're targeting. It seems like every year they target fewer and fewer players in the high school ranks, believing that the portal is a place where they can compete and win more battles and have them mean more to them. And Coach Stephen Pearl is usually the first point of contact. He works very closely with Burgermaster and Ian Borders to identify the people going into the portal. They work this time of year to scout players that they figure will go into the portal, so that when they go into the portal, Auburn is completely ready and has a dossier ready to be able to give BP. I don't know if they go as far as clips, although they may. And again, they're not reaching out. It's nothing illegal. It's not like they're tampering. It's like they're preparing so that when that name pops, they know exactly, okay, that's the kid from LaSalle, that's the kid from Pepperdine, that's the kid from Oregon State. And they know right away what his offense looks like, what his defense looks like, so BP can look at it and make a judgment. Corey says, did the Velcro Pygmies sing Pour Some Sugar on Me? They played a lot of good rock and roll the other night, but I don't think they sang that one. They definitely sang some Rat, because I remember singing Round and Round with them. That was amazing. And they also sang, what was that grandmother screaming? They got a grandma up on stage, and she was screaming, it was Pussy Whipped. Yeah, and they were having her sing the Pussy Whipped part. That was great. I was thinking about this earlier, Cassidy P. I'm glad we didn't have to play Plasvich again. Dude always seemed to muck up the game and was a threat to injure a key player of ours. I remember that. That dude's like Serbian or whatever, and he was just so rough and violent last year. And I wonder where the hell he went. Maybe he went back to Serbia to be a bare-knuckled fighter or something. I don't know, man. He seemed ill-tempered. He really did. Outlaws, what's up, bro? Outlaws jumps in the chat, says we needed a point guard to make a couple more shots tonight. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. I think that, maybe in the first couple rounds of the NCAA tournament you can get by with some of the stuff that Auburn's doing right now, but I think when it comes to nut-cutting time against Sweet 16 teams, whoever it is, whether it's, you don't want to face UConn and Houston or Purdue, but even teams like North Carolina or Illinois or San Diego State, you're going to have guard play that's better than this. And I did think Aiden competed tonight, so I would give him credit for that. Aiden took the Kentucky loss very, very hard. Whether this is true or not, he felt like he was responsible for the UK loss. He felt like defensively UK had just taken advantage of him, and he felt like he offered nothing on the offensive end, which is probably true, but it's a complicated calculus when you look at, all right, why do they lose to Kentucky? Why do they play so poorly against Kentucky at home? It's a lot deeper than, well, Aiden sucked. But he took it on himself because he's that kind of kid. He plays, takes a lot of pride in himself and in being what he promised Auburn that he would be. And he's crawled out from that. He played a great game, I thought, against Georgia, particularly the second half. And I thought tonight he played a credible game. A lot of pressure on him. They did some things, I thought, strategically to help him because Ziegler and that other guard, his name gets Jordan Gainey, were really pressuring him. Obviously, that's the scouting report on Auburn, is to apply as much ball pressure as you can because the point guards can't handle it. Auburn, the strategy that they did was they had a big, almost always providing just kind of what I would call a loose screen up near the midcourt line. It's really just kind of creating traffic, but what it does is it just creates enough defensive disturbance where the point guard can get free just to initiate the offensive machination, which they couldn't do in some of the games earlier, specifically the Kentucky game, the Mississippi State game, the first Alabama game at Alabama, where they were pressuring the ball so ardently and they weren't able to do anything. Auburn was getting vapor locked from that. They had a plan tonight and they executed it. Jalen paid more attention to it. Janai paid more attention to it. CBN paid more attention to it. I know Leor got a foul. He got his dumb foul where he got a moving screen. He was trying to set one of those really, really high, like loose screens. You got to be careful though. You can't actually move your feet when the guy's running into you. Blake says, Corey, I bet they sang "Do You Really Want to Hurt Me" by Boy George. I don't think they did. I don't remember that one. To which Corey said, I'm just glad they didn't play any Wham. I want to see you, if we ever do karaoke, Corey, I want to see you do Wham rap. And sing Wham, Bam, I am the man. I would pay money to see that. I bet Tori would too. She would do whatever it took to get you to do that. I wouldn't mind seeing you sing Karma Chameleon though. Bo is Great says, got to get to bed. Bo is Great has a very important job, and he does a lot of great work. I don't want to say what he does or who he is, but he does a lot of great work that's important to a lot of us. Got an early meeting. Peace out. And as the Canoeman always says, smash that lick button or like button or both. Hey now. Bo, appreciate you, brother. You're good people. Glad to have you as part of our community and all the work that you do off the board. Bo is one that he's a big networker off the community, off the board, with people on the board, but he does it off the board. And he knows all these people in real life, and he does a lot of really good stuff for folks. So we appreciate him. Outlaws says, Ole Miss win would be nice here. Yeah, I went on. I can't watch a game when I'm doing this show or else I get lost like I'm doing right now. But I want to see what the score is on this bitch. Alabama's up 4 with 8 minutes to go. But that's been close the whole way. And South Carolina they win at Texas A&M, which that's a nice win for them. And apparently Auburn lost to Tennessee. And Todd Golden's Florida Gators were victorious over the Missouri Tigers. Again, I was saying at the top of the show, I worry a little bit about that game at Missouri because I know they're terrible. I know they're 0-15. But it's going to be senior night for them. And fuck, man, you're going to get their best game. I know they're not good, but I bet that game's going to be closer than we think it will. I think Auburn can just put its foot down and win that game, but it's going to be closer, I think. I'm concerned about it. Blake said he would like to be present and witness it too, Corey. Blake may not even know the song Wham Rap. I don't know. He might be too young. Cassidy B says, Bo is Great. Are you sure you're not going to take some shots at Thompson Bolting until 12:30 a.m.? Don't know if he made it up there that far. And I feel like a stranger said, didn't know Bo is Great worked in pornography. He's a fellow Pike brother of mine. We were not in the same chapter, but he is a Pike. So I say to him, Phi KA, Mike G. I don't know if we got any other Pikes out there. I was a Pike myself. I am a Pike, I guess I could say. Kappa chapter. Transylvania University. By the way, Transylvania University's women's basketball team still undefeated. 60 in a row. 60 wins in a row. They go into the Division III tournament, begins this weekend. They are the number 2 seed behind NYU. But they're hosting a regional, and I'm sure they're going to teabag everybody in that regional. Outlaw 7 is on my team for this. Thank goodness I'm by myself. He says, I agree, JGT. Mizzou will give us all they have. I completely agree. Again, I know they're not good. I'm not trying to say, like, oh, Missouri's really good, guys. Watch out. I'm just saying it's going to be senior night. They're going to have their family there, and they don't want to go winless in the conference. And if they're going to not go winless, they got to win this game. They got to win one at home. And so it worries me, man. You remember back when Barbie was here, I mean, the team was shitty, but every now and then they would sneak up there and beat somebody. I mean, hell, he beat Kentucky one time, I think, back when Kentucky was good and Auburn was ass. You know, things have kind of flipped. The script has flipped a little bit since then, but same basic concept. Rob says, we know our guard play is inferior to a few of these other SEC teams, but there's a chance where we pull Trey and Aiden and put in KD and Denver for better opportunities to score. Or are you asking me, will there be a chance? You know, you've seen them moonlight a little bit with that. There's been at least one shift in each of the last 3 games where, yeah, I'd say at least one shift. I'm not sure there was more than one tonight. And there have been a couple games where they had 2 or 3 shifts where Denver was playing point guard for a minute, you know. I think tonight it was just a few possessions when they had KD and Denver playing together. CDF jumps in, one of our most supportive folks, and he's coming from a long way away, too. It says 39 points. Have some pride about you. I don't know. Yeah, 39 points, bro. CDF, you watch a lot of basketball, too. I don't remember the last time Auburn gave up 39. I mean, Auburn played some damn good players through the years. I wonder what they gave up to that Syracuse dude. Be curious to know. I'm going to look at the box score of that game. Syracuse 79, Auburn 78. Oh, the freaking box score is not here. You lied to me. Boo. You're a bad person, ESPN. I hate you, and I'll never let you down. I'll never like you again. Carmelo in that game. He only went for 18. Damn. Marquise Daniels went for 27 in that game. How about that? It's kind of a misleading one. Auburn was down 4 with like no time left, and D-Bird hit a 3 to cut it to 1, but it was over. Appreciate you, CDF. Giving you one of these right here. Corey says we scored 6 points in the first half against LSU under Barbie. Did that really happen? I mean, I was probably there, and I don't remember it. There, look, Cassidy P. He knows the Kentucky stuff. He says, way to go, Transy. Ale-8's for everyone. Ale-8. Ale-8 is a soda. The home for that is Winchester, Kentucky. Just a little bit east of Lexington. And a little piece of trivia, JG's first real job was in Winchester, Kentucky. I was writing for the Winchester Sun. Drove by the Ale-8 factory every single day that I went to work from Lexington over to Winchester. Home of the Clark County Cardinals, Redbirds, something like that. The George Rogers Clark Red something. They were red and black. There you go. Let's see. T-Roy says, I mean, AU played against Pistol Pete, and it was worse. Yeah, I bet it was. I bet you're right about that. I wasn't going that far back, brother. But, yeah, he put up some ridiculous numbers back in the day. Insane. Whale Driver says, I see Luka Doncic do that to chumps every night. That kid is the college basketball's Doncic. Some nights you just can't stop him. Yeah, tonight was one of those, right? Auburn was really trying, too. They tried a lot of different stuff, but just couldn't quite get it done. Corey says Nathan Watson probably scored 15 that game with 4 air balls. There's a guy who's been watching Auburn basketball a little while. We used to call Nathan Watson. That was in a period of my life where I came up with nicknames for every single player that I covered, and I called Nathan Watson the Spaniard. I have no idea why. We just called him the Spaniard. Just because he seemed like he was kind of by himself. He was a mysterious figure. The Spaniard. Quinnell Brown was cue ball, of course. Cue ball. Tay Waller. Tay for Trey. Trey for Tay. You know what I'm talking about. Whale Driver says, I don't think anyone doubts that, so at least it's a plausible lie. Well done. Stewart jumps in and says, we we have to get elite point guard play and making a run in March. Got to get going. Yeah. I'm not sure that they can do that. I'm not sure Auburn can have elite point guard play this year. But you can get better. I mean, they could get better than what they've had. And they're going to need that if they're going to make a run to shoot. I mean, in my opinion, if you're going to win a Sweet 16 game, you're going to have to get, some of the best play they've had all year out of point guard. And Auburn just doesn't have, at this point, the stud point guard that you need, right? They just ain't got it. Well, Driver, this is something I was talking to Courtney about earlier, or the other day. He says Jeff Lebo started 4 guards and a small forward and finished in the bottom 10 in free throw shooting. That is absolutely true. I told Courtney, because Courtney's a stickler for free throw shooting. It drives her crazy when people miss free throws, and I was like, you would really hate some Jeff Lebo era Auburn Tigers because they couldn't hit a free throw to save their life, man. Quan Prowell. My man, Quan Prowell was so much fun to cover. A young man from Columbus, Georgia, who was really, really good. And I think he got drafted in the second round. And that was a big deal at the time. It was like Auburn finally got somebody drafted. And now Auburn gets people drafted in the lottery all the time. Corey asking the real questions we all want to know the answer to. Did Frankie Tolbert shoot so well because of his 6 fingers? To those of you who are younger, he did have an extra finger on each hand. So he had 12 fingers. Well, technically 10 fingers and 2 thumbs, but you know what I mean. It was really something. And he had a great humor about it. Adam Pope says R.I.P. Vaught Barber. Yeah, absolutely, man. Rest in peace to Vaught. Korvatny, of course, I think the second ever McDonald's All-American, or maybe the first ever to sign with Auburn at the time, came over from Georgia. And was a fine player for Auburn for many years. Unfortunately, passed away in a rip current down, I think, in Panama City, trying to save someone, as I recall. Remember, swim sideways, guys. If that ever happens, I have been caught in a riptide myself, and I swim. You can't. There's no way you're going to fight. You're not going to win that fight, so you're just going to swim sideways and wait. Find you an area where the water's not pushing you out and get back in. It happened to me in Melbourne, Florida, during that superstorm of 93. We didn't get superstorm too bad, but the water out there was rough. I shouldn't have been out there. I wouldn't say I almost lost my life, but I was getting closer than I should have. Corey W. says, no one shot free throws like Lincoln Glass. I completely agree. Love Lincoln, man. Great guy to cover. Wrote a big story about him. Back in the day, I remember sitting down in the basement of the Advertiser. I was like, leave me alone. I'm writing the story. I'm going to need 3 hours. A. Taxman says, was Marco a McDonald's All-American? He was not. Young man from, I believe it was Lanier in Montgomery. He's definitely one of the Montgomery guys. They used to just call him Kill, Marco Killingsworth. Saw him in the Costco a few years ago. I think it was right after COVID lifted. So 21 maybe. And he was doing good. I love Marco. It's fun to talk to. Rasheem Barrett, Rasheem the Dream. Another name from that was early Lebo, I guess. I do remember Rasheem. Great guy to talk to. Could shoot 3 too. I think he maybe at the end of his time was about the time that Taj came in, maybe. Chip says Ole Miss is shit in the bed. God dang it. That's frustrating. Just when you want Ole Miss, you want Ole Miss, you want to be able to rely on them. They're just going to do that. 82-74 with 5 minutes to go. I guess it doesn't look good, Chip. So much for the Pavilion being the place you can't ever go to win, huh? Whale Driver says, wasn't there a Josh Dollard in there? Absolutely. He was a power forward that wore the 3 jersey. And ran into him again not too long ago. That might have been right before COVID. He came back to Auburn to get his degree, which I'm always a fan of people doing. And played some horse with Josh Dollard, and he beat my ass, which you would expect him to do. I will say that way back in the day, I played horse, and we damn near beat an Auburn varsity player. It was me and Troy Johnson. He used to work for the Columbus Ledger, and now he works at AUM. But we played horse against this dude that he was like a backup shooting guard at Auburn, and we damn near beat his ass. That would have been one I'd remember the rest of my life if we had won, but we didn't quite win. Wow, Adam, you're really going deep with this one. The Boubacar Sylla experiment. Wow, that's really going back. That's all the way back to Cliff, wasn't it? That is way back there. Excellent recognition on that one, Big Daddy. Outlaw 7 with a super chat. No message offered, no message needed. I know you've been chatting a bunch tonight. I appreciate you, Outlaws. Here and on the bunker. Glad to have you as part of the family. Call Me Biscuit says, do young kids still play horse? I hope so. Well, you can play like cat if you want to, or just everybody always plays the game where it's like, oh, you're a hoe. I'm a hoe. But I don't know the answer to that, Call Me Biscuit. I will say that I have not played horse in a little while. People are 21 players now, it seems like. Adam says that Boubacar Silla was a Lebo player. Let's see if he remembers correctly. That name barely registers in my head, but I do remember the name. I thought about the center, Asan Dixon Tatum. I just thought about him the other day for the first time. Like, oh, wow. Anyway, back to the issues at hand. Rob asked me, do you think Jamie? Is that Jamison Brewer? Do you think Jamie should stop shooting the three even if he hits a bucket early in the game? Maybe, do you mean Janai? I don't know what you mean. I don't want to buy that. My bad. I should be able to pick that up, but I'm not getting it done. My bad, Rob. I can't blame it on the alcohol, though, because I haven't had a single drop in a week now. Corey Dub says Adam Harrington was the truth. He really was. Really interesting player. Good dude, too, and still has a lot of pride about Auburn. Turned into was a personal trainer for elite athletes, specifically Kevin Durant early in his career, and then he became an assistant coach, I believe, with the Nets. And I don't know what Adam's doing now, but I know I've had several conversations with him through the years, and he's definitely very, very proud to be an Auburn graduate. So, yeah, he's fired up about that. Cassidy P says he's about to head home. Proverbially, he's probably already home, but he's saying, okay, East Coast bedtime, peace, and hair grease, y'all. Cassidy P, that's for you, brother. It is getting to be about that time. 11 o'clock in the Eastern time zone, 10 o'clock here in the Central time zone, on a night where Auburn lost a difficult one to the Tennessee Vols. Whale Driver says Harrington was very athletic. He really was an athlete. There is no doubt about that. He was really something. And I got to believe he should have been better, you know. If he had been given more opportunities or had more opportunities, I think he would have done more. He was playing at Auburn at a time where it was getting kind of, Cliff had a lot of players at that point, a lot of really good players. And I did see it today where Cliff Ellis is going to be Auburn's legend for the SEC tournament, which I think is amazing. Cliff is absolutely 10 years at Auburn. And look, man, there were some good coaches before him, a couple really good ones. But I think when he took over Auburn, he definitely moved Auburn up. And for me, I mean, I know him personally, but before I got to know him, when Auburn beat Alabama in 97, I think it was 94-40. I mean, anybody that does that, I don't care what's going on in Alabama. You beat somebody 94-40. You deserve hero status for that right there. And Corey's going way back to remember when Clifton Robinson was moonlighting on the basketball team. He really was. He did absolutely play basketball for Auburn. Him and, Kyle DeRozan. Is that Kyle DeRozan? Played backup center, I believe, for Lebo in the very, very beginning. It was Kyle DeRozan, I think, was a defensive tackle or a tight end. I can't remember which one. Corey W. asks, this is another great question that people have been asking for years and years. Is Cliff Ellis a better coach or singer? He did have back in the day, he was a singer for a band out of Tallahassee called oh, God, how can I forget this? I cannot remember what they were called. Maybe the Coasters? I can't remember. But they played beach music. And Cliff can sing, man. And Cliff was cool, man. I remember they were playing Dave Odom one time. Dave Odom was a really good friend of his. He was he was most well known for coaching at Wake, but he was at South Carolina at the time. And I asked him about Dave, and he goes, Dave can't sing at all, but boy, he's got some soft shoes. I was like, I wasn't expecting that answer. Yeah, Corey asks about, wasn't there an offensive lineman that played basketball with the last name of Mack? I believe there was. That would have been 98-ish. Right at the end of the Bowden era, I believe there was one. I wasn't actually covering Auburn at that time, so that's why I don't remember the name. But, yeah, there was somebody. There might have been two from that team that played basketball. Things were not great at that point. Let's see. AU Taxman says, that was the most fun I've ever had at a basketball game. It was like 45-12 at half. He's talking about the 94-40 Auburn win over Alabama in 90. It could have been 98. It was, I think, it was either 97 or 98. Chip says, I've listened to a few of Cliff's songs, not my bag. I get it. It's not really mine either. And you and I have a very similar taste in music, but I respect the fact that he, went out there and did it, man. And that's what he was doing. Like, he got out of college and he was going to be a singer in a band. Like, that kind of shit, it doesn't seem like it happens anymore. These coaches are like professional coaches now, Not that Cliff Ellis isn't and he's won 1,000,000 games or whatever, but you know what I'm saying, when he started, he had no plans on being a coach. Coaching was not where you made money. Yeah. Let's see. Adam P. says, I was a kid, but does anyone remember the lazy boy they had in the student section? My dad and I got to sit there one game and got free pizza. My love for Auburn hoops was cemented that night. They called that the best seat in the house, right? And they would do a drawing to see who could slide into those seats. That's my recollection, Adam. Let's see. Oh, Janai. Rob, sorry, brother. You said Jamie, Janai. Again, I should be doing better than that. Seems like if he hits one early in the game, he continues to shoot and misses through the rest of the game. So he's actually a decent three-point shooter. The numbers were better than I expected. Let me take a quick look at it. What Ken Palm says about him. By the way, Auburn, Ken Palm dropped Auburn from 4 to 6, which I think is fair because I think they moved Tennessee up 1. So Tennessee's now 5 in the Ken Palm. Auburn is 6. Auburn's been in the top 10, I think, all the way. Well, whatever, since mid-December. Janai is 37% from 3, bro. So, I mean, that's not bad. Let me see what he's doing in conference play, though. Jeez Louise. He's shooting 45% from 3 in conference play, G. He's the 6th most accurate shooter in the SEC in conference games. He's 16 of 36 from 3. I mean, listen, man, you can't argue that. I mean, I know you weren't trying to shit on him or anything, but yeah, I mean, you want him to shoot from 3, believe it or not. I mean, these numbers are just silly. In conference play, he's shooting 57% from 2, 44% from 3. And his free throw shooting actually has been poor. 63%. But yeah, I don't know, man, Rob. I didn't realize it was that good either. The Villagers. Thank you, Call Me Biscuit. The Villagers. That's exactly right. I said the Coasters. There is actually a Coasters band, but he ain't in it. The Villagers. Attaboy. Thank you. Corey Dub says, think we're staring at a 4 seed the dance. I think 3 at the best. I think, you win out these last 3 games. You get in the SEC tournament as a 3 seed. You win 2 games. Yeah, that's probably a 4. It may be a 3. But if you don't do that, Auburn's best case scenario is a 3. Worst case scenario for me is probably a 6. Maybe a 5 would be the worst. So that's all you're jockeying for there is between a 3 and a 5. But that's a big difference in the NCAA tournament, at least for your first game. If you're a 3, you're playing a 14, and that's usually a game you can win, feel pretty good. But if you're a 5 and you're taking on an 11, man, those are like those teams you don't want to fuck with. That's like I'm trying to think of these teams. I can find a few for you on the Ken Palm. Oh, God. Henry's on the Ken Palm, and he keeps knocking me off, Dick. 11 seeds are going to be like Oh, God, they might have fallen that far. Florida Atlantic, Oklahoma, Cincinnati, who won at BYU, that Indiana State team that you don't want to fuck with, SMU, Drake, you don't want to fuck with. Like, I just don't want to play any of those dudes. Like, I don't know what the fuck they're doing, you know? Oregon, Ohio State, if they got in, they'd be like a 12. They're playing much better since they fired their coach. A James Madison team that's 27-3. You don't want any part of that shit. Like, let somebody else handle that, man. 5 versus 12. Oh, yeah, whatever. Thanks for that, stranger. I was close, wasn't I? It's the same concept, though. It's going to be a major league. It's going to be a big league team that struggled but has players, and they just got to get their shit right. And you don't want to be the team that finds out if Ohio State actually got their shit straightened out now that their coach got fired. You know what I mean? Solo Tigger says, wait, you share your login with Henri? Bad form from a professional mod, IMO. Don't be mad at me, Solo Tigre. Yeah, Whale Driver says 5s play 12s. For a while there, 12s pulled off an upset for like 25 straight years. Yeah, it's always like something like that, right? Yeah, those teams are always a menace. It's either like really good small league teams like a JMU, or it's going to be some struggling team, or like a 500 team from a major conference. Call Me Biscuit says, do you and Henri share Netflix as well? You guys have some funny ideas about how close me and Henri are. I like Henri, believe me, but I don't hang out with him. He's really young, dude. He's like 21. I think he's younger than my daughter. I'm serious. So I don't necessarily get, I don't really get his humor very much, but he's a great kid, and I love his attitude. Let's see. Whale Driver says, I'm telling you, Broom could work his way into the second round if he keeps hitting them. He does a little bit of everything. I am skeptical, Whale. My issue with Janai, not personally, because I think he's a terrific basketball player, but like if in a combine scenario, he's not going to wow anybody. Like, he's just not a great athlete. He's a skilled basketball player, but he's not a great athlete at all. Corey says New Mexico State was a 12. Very good recollection. That was like the toughest game Auburn had until the Final Four. Isn't that right? Solo Tigre says he knows ball, too. He really does. He's got a passion for basketball. He loves basketball. I would love nothing more than to hire him as a full-timer right now and just add him to the staff and sail on. But I can't do it, bro. I can't do it. We've got enough guys. I got enough guys now. Robert says, JG, did you drink any night? I didn't. I had a heart issue last week where I went into something called AFib for 48 hours, and basically my heart was just fluttering. And I have every reason to believe that alcohol, I got really lit at a rock and roll show, and I think it messed me up. So I'm just going to kind of ease back on the bourbon drinking for a little while and give my heart a chance to just get back going right, okay? But I said earlier, Robert, if I was drinking tonight, I would have been drinking this right here, the Castle and Key 2023 iteration. Good stuff. 103 proof. It's an easy drinker. I think it's small batch. If you're in Alabama, these can be hard to come by. If you're in any other state, particularly Georgia, they're easy to come by. And I think it's a good, just kind of solid, everyday whiskey. Probably cost you, I don't know if A Taxman's still here, but maybe, I don't know, $40, $45, something like that. Robert says, get well soon, brother. I appreciate that, man. I'm doing good now. Call Me Biscuit says, what's up with dry week February, JGT? I think I just answered that, but yeah. Give My Heart a Chance sounds like a mid-90s song. Come here and don't give my heart a chance. I love you, girlfriend. Corey says JG was in AFib Saturday and still wished me happy birthday. Bros, I did. That is true. I remember having the conversation on the computer down there. Sitting there freaking out, dude. I just can't. Some people can live in AFib for years. Every single day they're in AFib. But when it happens to me, I'm just like, ugh. It is very jarring, believe me. It just sucks. But I'm Gucci. It's going to be fine. Even my mom was giving me hell about it. She's like, Jay, come on now. I was like, yeah, easy for you to say. You had an ablation. You don't have any problems anymore. And she's like, yeah, well, you'll have an ablation someday, and then you won't have any problems anymore. I'm like, hey, can you hush it, please? Now, we spent a lot of time on this page today. Usually we spend all of our time on this page. Maybe that's something I should learn from. There it is. Feel Like a Stranger says, you just wrote a Billy Ray Cyrus hit. Yes, sir. I wish I would have written Achy Breaky Heart. I could have written that song. We all could have written that song. All right, Blake's going to bounce. He says, I'm having a hard time staying awake. Peace, JGT and fam. 5 o'clock Eastern time coming early. We absolutely love Blake R. One of the greats. Appreciate you, Blake. You're a stud, and I hope you continue being studly. We'll see you again soon. Maybe this weekend. Or on the bourbon blend, maybe. I don't know. Why not? Let's see. Call Me Biscuit asks a good question. Why the heck doesn't everyone drive to Georgia from Alabama for bourbon? Isn't it easier than stupid lottery? I play the lottery for fun, which I only hit once. And when I hit it, I was happy with it. But I'm not going to go stand in line at 3 in the morning to pick up a Blanton's. It's just not going to happen. So I will go to Georgia. I go to the bottle shop probably every, once a quarter. And they always have a bunch of great stuff there in Columbus at the bottle shop. And yeah. Considering how much I'm drinking right now, a couple bottles will last me a while. Well, we probably ought to wrap it up there, man. Blake's probably got the right idea. We lost Cassidy P as well. And, Auburn lost. I have a sneaky suspicion Auburn will not lose next time out, which is going to be Saturday, 3 o'clock Central Time, 4 o'clock for our friends in the Eastern Time Zone, taking on Mississippi State on ESPN2. And so we will be live there. Also, the next show I'm going to be doing is the Bourbon Blend tomorrow night. We're going to do a show about bourbons that we think can beat Blanton's at the same or approximately same price point, which in secondary these days can be $150. I don't know if you saw the last show we did at Booty Free in Atlanta. They're $100 and something for a Blanton's. It's crazy. So anyway, we'll be live over there tomorrow. My wife and I, administrative assistant, will be doing our bourbon show, and we literally have. Sometimes we have 2 dozen that come and hang out with us, but they're the dirty dozens. This is plural, dirty dozens. Kanuman was here, says, great show as always. Thank you, brother. And I appreciate your support all the time on and off the show, on and off the board, in fact. Raven says, get ready to play a physical game. You're damn right about that. Mississippi State is going to bump you around for show. Justin C. in the house. What's up, brother? Glad you've been on here and watching. Door damn. Thanks, JG. Appreciate you. Jacob G says, bro, it is so late. Are we still draining? Yes. Hell yeah, we were. We're about to wrap it up, though. But, yeah, I thought we had a lot to talk about tonight. I missed the last show, so we picked it back up. But I think we're going to be doing every show from here on out. That Missouri game next week is going to be a bitch with an 8 o'clock tip-off. But I feel like at this point, man, we're just locked in, yo. We just got to go. We just got to go the whole way. Every game. So, anywho. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Super chatters, you know how I feel about you personally, which is very, very strongly. And everybody who's part of the Brain Drain fam, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. You guys keep me going, honestly, professionally. And I'm glad to know a lot of you in person. And those that I don't know, you guys ought to come to one of our events. We're going to have one in Atlanta, although that one's getting full. I'm not sure we can just accommodate everybody there. I think we have a hard limit of like 20. And then we're having a big-ass throwdown on the 13th in Orange Beach. At a Chip Chips compound there in Orange Beach. It's our second annual throwdown, and we can put a lot of people there. He's got parking. He's got space. He's got a badass dock. It's nice. So, and I think Mobile Alum's going to be performing there, so that'll be fun too. Anywho, details on that are on top of the bunker pinned atop there at auburnsports.com. Guys, I'm going to bounce. I appreciate you guys. Unbelievable work tonight. Appreciate you staying up with me and hanging out and being part of the show. So until tomorrow, Bourbon Blend, or Saturday when I see you guys on the drain, whichever one you guys want to do, I will see you then. So until then, keep your feet on the ground. Keep reaching for the stars. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Let's make great decisions. See ya.